Hi and welcome to this Heineken Jibe breakdown. Unlike previous breakdowns, this one is going to be much less detailed on equipment because this is an intermediate level jibe. As such, you should already be accomplished with a normal jibe, and this is just a different transition of the wing. What we are going to focus on are the conditions to try this jibe for the first time. The Heineken Jibe requires that there is apparent wind running from the leading edge to the trailing edge of the wing throughout the manoeuvre. Due to this, we need to be going faster than the true wind when we head downwind. For this, we need a fairly fast foil, and for initial attempts lighter wind helps, as it is much easier to be travelling faster than the true wind in lighter winds. Therefore, I would recommend attempting the Heineken Jibe initially in around 15 knots of wind. As usual, for learning a new manoeuvre, we should aim for fairly flat water conditions so that we're not dealing with waves and swell whilst trying to learn a new wing transition. You want to use the smallest wing you can, so if you can make a 4 metre work in 15 knots then use that. If not, a 5 metre is also fine. Lastly, if you can use a foil with a reasonable glide, that also helps give you some time rather than dropping off foil too quickly. Okay, that's enough information for our introduction to this jibe. Let's start by talking through a Heineken jibe at full speed. So first of all, we do a check under the wing for safety, and then we're going to power up. So we bring the power on there, and we're going to go into this jibe with full speed, keep the power on, then punch down with the backhand and send the wing over ahead and twist to bring it round, switch hands, and then sail out in tow side. Let's pick this up after the safety check and powering into the jibe. The Heineken Jibe is a jibe that you do at speed because you need to keep the apparent wind on the wing flowing from the leading edge of the wing to the trailing edge throughout the manoeuvre. If you slow down too much, the wing can catch wind from behind, and this will cause the wing transition to fail. The timing of the wing transition is slightly before the wing depowers, so the moment you feel that power starting to fall, the transition can be initiated. Until then, we keep the wing powered. The wing transition is initiated by keeping the front hand up but pushing the backhand down to send the wing into a vertical climb. This sends the wing up and over your head and behind you. As it does this, you rotate the front hand to draw a C shape in the air and twist the wing round onto its new direction. The wing will naturally fly forwards, which you should allow it to do as it is reorientating itself to the apparent wind. Once it has come forwards, you can change hands, settle into your tow side stance and start to reposition and repower the wing to sail away in your natural tow side stance. The more speed you have when you do the transition, the better, easier and more naturally the wing will do the transition for you. If you are too slow, the wing can luff up or even repower from behind, making the transition much harder or fail completely. Okay, so let's have another look at one of these, but this time we'll come in a bit closer on the hands and look at what's going on in a bit more detail. Here we are part way through the jibe, but still powered up and preparing for when we feel the power start to drop. You can see that I'm keeping the wing in a powered position and not letting it fly overhead. Both hands are in a palm down riding position for this wing transition. It's not possible to do it with the front hand palm up. The transition itself is very similar to when you catch a wingtip and you punch downwards with the back hand to cause the wing to fly up and release the wingtip from the water. The principle here is exactly the same, except we are going to fly the wing up and over our head behind us rather than just clearing it from a wingtip drag. The harder you punch with the back hand, the more aggressively the wing is going to fly up and over you. So for initial attempts we should keep these fairly light and aim for just getting the wing up above us rather than sending it right over our heads and deep behind our back. I'm now bringing my front hand up to my forehead and starting to push the backhand down to send the wing vertical. As long as you have some speed, this action will send the wing up and over your head. You support that motion by leading with your front hand and pulling the wing up and over, and as soon as it reaches the horizontal, start to put some twist into the wrist to draw a C shape so that the wing flies through an arc onto its new direction. We must at all times keep foiling through our turn, as going straight downwind will stop the wing from transitioning fully onto the new direction. At this point the wing will start to repower, even though it is only flying on one hand, and will fly forwards. You should lead it through this with the front hand guiding it to your new front hand and the front hand swap. As soon as you change hands, you can reposition the wing for power and settle into your normal toe side stance. Often the wing does require a little bit of work in order to get it back into a powered position, but sometimes if you get the hand transition perfect, you can come out fully on power without having to adjust the wing at all. In all of these examples, I'm sending the wing quite gently into the Heineken, as if I send it too hard it goes behind me and crashes into the camera mount. This is why I'm having to manage the wing a little more after the Heineken than if I did a more aggressive transition with the wing going right behind my back. Somewhat fortuitously, this is also how you should do your first Heinekens, as an aggressive wing send for your first attempts will likely result in a high-speed crash. Okay, let's go through this again, but this time from a goofy-footed stance. I'm not a goofy-footed rider, and this example actually ended up serving as a good example of how things can go partially wrong by not being assertive with the send of the wing, which was just some hesitation on my part due to this being on my weaker stance. The mistake I made here is allowing the wing to fly into slightly too vertical orientation as I enter into the jibe, and you can see that happening here. As a result, it only climbs gently and requires the front hand lead and spin of the wing from the wrist to be more assertive. Due to this weak send of the wing, it also doesn't quite transition fully, and that requires me to catch the leading edge with my left hand there and push the leading edge up in order to get the wing to actually transition and start to fill with wind again. Once I've done that, I can then continue, swap my front hand, grab the back handle and then pull the wing down, and actually it ends up being a successful jibe. But I think what I've done here is shown what can go wrong, and that when you do send the wing you need to be positive and assertive with it, otherwise you can end up with a situation like this. I also have another example of this which I'll play at full speed so you can get a better appreciation of exactly what's going on. You can see again that this is just a weak send of the wing, but it isn't as bad as the first example that I showed in slow motion. The toe side Heineken is a bit of a mind bender in that you have it in your head that with a Heineken jibe you send the wing up over your head, behind your back, and then it flies forward for you to catch and change hands. With this expectation you get in a bit of a muddle when you come to try it, as this is not actually what happens at all in toe side. The thing to remember is that toe side you already kind of have your back to the wing. You have twisted your body round in order to sail in this position. Because of this, when you do a toe side Heineken, you're kind of flying the wing from behind your back to back in front of you. At least that is the way to think about it. Therefore the wing spin and transition actually happens in front of you rather than behind your back. The actions to do the jibe are the same, it just isn't what you envisage in your mind when thinking about it and attempting to do it for the first time. As you can see here, the wing has flown from my left over to the right and then spun right in front of me, but the hand actions to do the wing transition are no different to a normal stance jibe. Let's just look at that in full speed just to get a better idea. When you first start practicing Heineken jibes, it's a very good idea to remove harness lines from your wing. I'm including this clip as an example which was okay but very close to a lasso of the head, which is quite common when you first start learning and definitely not a lot of fun. So just remove the harness lines until you get some success, and then you learn to avoid this in your technique as you fine tune the send of the wing. This next example is again toe side, and we're in a bit closer on the camera view this time so you can see what's going on with my hands. This is once again a fairly gentle send of the wing, so I don't push too hard down with my backhand, and then I lead the wing with the front hand and draw that C shape in the sky to transition the wing, ending with my front hand palm up, and then once I've done that I can switch hands and repower the wing and sail away in normal stance. And that completes our Heineken Jibe breakdown, and I'll see you on the next one.